Let's start with a more immediate issue right now, because we've also learned that the bank has once again pushed back its staff's return to office.
Yeah, like so many other banks, it is deciding that a pushback till February 1st is perhaps the best way to wait out the spike of Omicron here in the U.S. Now, as you may recall, Goldman's been one of the more aggressive of the U.S. banks in terms of seeking a return to its workers, beginning this summer with a very high-profile return. Food trucks and other events were planned, even though it was a bit rainy that day, to ease workers back with a bit of excitement. Of course, at the end of last year, it had to adjust, sending workers out again to work remotely due to Omicron. And it originally set the return date as mid-January. We're told Goldman staff has now been told February 1st is the return date. And many banks on Wall Street are having to deal with this. Pushing back return dates, it now seems February 1st is a general return date, although Wells Fargo, we've previously reported, have said they've delayed the return indefinitely as they continue to assess the latest situation. Goldman workers who do return to the office and are vaccinated are also required, and this was a previous policy, to test twice a week for COVID.
Tell us more about that huge windfall by Goldman's commodities traders, Sue.
Well, Goldman's commodities trading desk appears to be back in its full glory. You may recall that years ago it was a powerhouse for Goldman, but in the years leading up to 2017, it had steadily weakened. The big comeback underscores how fortunes have changed due to the pandemic. We're told the unit's revenue shot past $2.2 billion, largely in the final months of 2021, and that exceeds the windfall it generated in 2020 for its strongest performance in a decade. Now, energy traders in particular have thrived, and that's no surprise, because if you look at the one-year return for energy commodities, you can see they blew away most other commodities, particularly with oil, natural gas, and other such futures. Ed Emerson, who's the head of the commodities desk, he's one of the senior people at Goldman who had stuck around on the desk as some other peers left during the lean season. He is said by people close to the matter to be among the highest paid partners at Goldman this bonus season. People close to the matter say pay for some of these top performers across the firm will surpass, get this, $30 million. Now, I should point out that Goldman has not disclosed the commodity desk revenue. It usually releases that as part of its fixed income data. And as mentioned, it is scheduled to report fourth quarter results on Tuesday. We should also note, as has been reported here on Bloomberg, Jeff Curry, Goldman's senior commodities global analyst, has suggested dislocation around the world could create a super cycle for energy futures that lasts years, if not a decade. And he rose to fame after predicting that the China-driven boom of the 2000s would push oil to 100 back then, which it did. So a lot of focus on Goldman in the coming week.